So we just built a 35-page prospecting campaign for a health tech company that helps clinical teams automate medical record retrieval. If you're wondering how this is any different than what your marketing and sales team is already doing, they could be using off-of-the-shelf signals that don't always make it relevant to reach out, and combining it with outreach like, "I saw you X," followed by a pitch slap on why your technology is the best. And worse off, they could be asking for a call on the first touch point when prospects have no idea who you are. And candidly speaking, we've run campaigns like this for months, really with no results to show for it. It didn't matter the tools that we used, the level of personalization we had, or the volume we did, it seemed like it never really moved the needle. So, to build a campaign that can drive new partnerships and predictable revenue, we started focusing more on prospects' situation and problem rather than just pitching solutions. For this campaign, we used operational indicators pulled from press releases, job descriptions, partnerships, and regional expansion data, all verified against the company's own internal data. So if you're leading a health tech company, I'm going to show you exactly how I built this go-to-market engine from end to end. If you have product market fit, you're already sitting on everything you need: your own case studies, customer outcomes, and internal proof. This kind of campaign turns that existing evidence into an outbound system. Each page maps a company, a decision maker, the public signals that show why the timing is right, and a contextual message that would actually make sense if it landed in their inbox. So if you're wondering how we built it, we spent about 75% of our time giving the models the right context. We fed ChatGPT and Claude, the company we built this for, case studies, website copy, podcast transcripts, job descriptions, all saved as PDFs and uploaded into the models. That context told them exactly who they help, what problems they solve, and the outcomes they've already delivered. So inside of Claude, I created a project and I built 3 sub-agents. One was focused on the company showing the right public signals. The second one identified decision makers and pulled their professional context. And the third assembled everything into structured one-pagers. So why should we be reaching out to this role? Why is it relevant now? And how should we reach out? Once the agents finished, we refined the outputs back in ChatGPT to keep the language clear and human. The result is basically what you're seeing here, and that's a ready-to-run go-to-market campaign built out in less than a day. We analyzed a multitude of different types of organizations. We verified 9 of those organizations as ideal prospects. We also gave the company we built this for the research period, along with the geographic coverage, and then the market segments we focused on, which in this case was clinical research organizations, integrated delivery networks, and specialty care networks as well. The methodology we used is signal-based targeting that focused on organizations with 2 or more verifiable indicators of operational strain in medical records and documentation workflows, because the company we built this for, that's essentially what they specialize in. We also gave them some key market insights, so the primary pain patterns that we focused on specifically, along with the market readiness, so how accurate the data we're giving them really is. And lastly, we gave them the recommended outreach sequence, so which company should be prioritized for outreach first versus some of the others that are on the list. I won't go through all 9, but I'll take Astrana Health as our first example here. What we did is we created a detailed profile that talked about the type of organization they are, their size, geographical footprint, and any kind of recent activity or signals. We also mapped the correct decision maker to reach out to. So in this case, the most relevant decision maker was Dr. Kumar, who is their chief medical officer. We made sure to include information on his LinkedIn, and we also located his email and phone number, which I took out of this video for privacy reasons. But basically, why it's relevant to reach out to this role is because he oversees clinical transformation and value-based care initiatives across the entire provider network. Post-acquisition, he's responsible for ensuring clinical quality and care coordination as Astrana integrates 11,000 new providers from prospect. So medical record accessibility and clinical data flow are critical to his success metrics. And in the first signal here, we've seen that there was a $708 million prospect medical systems acquisition that Astrana went through recently. We went and found the source, when it was published, when we accessed it. We found some evidence, so that way we knew that the information was correct and accurate, and then also the implication of what that meant for the company that we built this for. And in the second signal, we noticed that value-based care growth and multi-state expansion is a main focus for Astrana based off of the content on their website. And same story here, but we basically tied it all together. And one of the most important section is, why is it relevant to reach out now? So Astrana just closed their largest acquisition back in July. They added 11,000 providers from Prospect Medical Systems across a multitude of different states. So the integration is happening right now, and their providers need access to patient records from Prospect's legacy systems, plus external facilities to maintain care continuity. Value-based care contracts require complete medical histories for risk adjustment and quality metrics. So without fast, reliable record retrieval, Astrana risks care gaps, quality score penalties, and physician frustration. So last mile retrieval and face sheet structuring, which is what the company we built this for specializes in, directly accelerates Astrana's integration timeline and it supports their core value based care model. The timing is critical because they're in their first 90 to 120 days post close when their integration pain is most acute and their leadership is most receptive to solutions. So we were able to hand all of this data off to the company that we built this for and also give them a recommended messaging angle. And in this case, we wanted to lead with the prospect acquisition announcement and offer insights on how similar physician networks accelerated post M&A record unification using things like AI powered retrieval to maintain value based care quality metrics during integrations. And for the messaging example here, we basically wanted to share insights or solutions that were independently valuable from the company that we built this for and start to engage with Dr. Kumar in a meaningful way. So the messaging looked something like this, which is, Dr. Kumar, after a major acquisition, the first few months usually reveal how well clinical operations hold together across legacy systems. The networks that protected care continuity during similar transitions focused early on record visibility and structure. Here's what kept their integration steady: centralizing records from prospect era and community systems so new physicians begin with full patient context, creating concise summaries so clinicians could resume treatment without administrative back and forth, and measuring early continuity and reimbursement accuracy across new regions to guide scale up. A network managing a comparable size merger kept its value based care performance steady while cutting their record turnaround time by about 75%. With seeing how they structured this early phase be useful to your team? So as you can see here, we're just trying to get a positive reply from Dr. Kumar in a way that he's actually able to attach value to the company that's reaching out to him. There's a multitude of different other strategies that we can use, such as a white paper campaign where we're talking about relevant industry trends or something that's very, very specific to the company that takes more of a relationship based approach. But overall, as you can see, we're not pitching this company solutions. We're not even mentioning what they do. We're just focusing on Dr. Kumar's company, which is Astrana Health, insights that are relevant to ways that could potentially help them with their current situation and everything that they're going through. And we went ahead and did that for all of the 9 organizations that we built this campaign for. And so I would say the most important takeaway here is the way that we went about thinking. Again, we spent 75% of our time giving the models the right context. So what that could mean for you is load in your company's proof, your messaging, and your customer outcomes that live in your internal data. Let the systems handle all of the structuring and the heavy liftings. We use ChatGPT for a lot of the deep research here, but then we went ahead and used Claude subagents to go out and do the research and find companies such as specialty care networks, integrated delivery networks, and CROs as well that are struggling with similar pain points that this company solved for in their case studies, that they say they solve for in their website copy. And we're combining all of that contextual data and giving them an actual action plan to where they can action the signals and reach out in a relevant way. And so that's really the difference between outbound that feels cold and outbound that feels credible, which is pretty essential when it comes to the healthcare space. So again, everything you saw was built on public data, the company's internal proof, and our go-to-market best practices. Nothing was made up and nothing was generic. We had to make sure that we went back through and referenced all of the data that we collected just to make sure that it was accurate. So if you run a health tech company, start with your own evidence instead of somebody else's template. If you want access to any of the assets or best practices we use, or even if you want me to send this campaign to you specifically, just let me know and I'll be sure to send it over.